Hello and welcome back to Dave's American Flyer Trains. This is the project to rebuild a train set from catalog set 4611, the train from that set, the New York Central freight train from 1946 and 47. This is going to be our baseline. This is my version of that train, and we're going to revisit it just so you'll see what our goal is and where we're headed. This is 322. You'll recognize it as smoking tender. And I believe, according to Doyle, it is a type 2, whereas type 1 would have had New York Central markings here. It would have had the shiny handrails rather than the blackened handrails. I didn't paint this. This was blackened. And, of course, the coupler. This one is a thick shank coupler. You can't quite see it, but it is thick shank and is unweighted. We would expect that we would find the thin shank unweighted coupler on the 1946 version. Now, I repainted mine. I'm not going to repaint the customer's. The customer did not request it. I wanted to do it because I wanted this guy to look really, really good to pull some of my Pullman cars. And as you can see, it's totally repainted, including a shiny coat of paint on the coal bed. So it's a great performer. It is this smoking tender. It is a six-wheel truck. It's not simulated six-wheel trucks. Next up is the 716 coal dump car. This one has, I believe, at least one thin shank coupler on it, unweighted, which would give an indication that it probably was the 1946 version. This is the one I did an earlier video on because it was almost totally unrecoverable due to rust, and I cleaned, polished, ground on it, stripped all the paint off, stripped as much rust as I could off, got it back into really good operational condition. I had a recent email about this. This one has the inside pickups, inside the truck pickups for both positive and negative, which means it doesn't need to touch the rail head. That's why it doesn't have any pickup wheels on it, as opposed to the outside truck single pickup, which still receives either the base or the power through the pickup and then the opposite through the wheels. Next up in the set is this is kind of a test question, 654. Let me check the customer's. Customer's actually still has the number stamp on it, which mine did not. 634. Mine didn't have a number stamp on it. His does. Mine has American Flyer lines in these depressions right here on the car. His has 634. Maybe his is a 1947, mine is a 46, because I believe one of these couplers is also thin shank unweighted. It was quite a rebuild task, primarily because of rust. His is going to be pretty challenging too. Next up in the 4611 is one of my favorite cars. First of all, I like stock cars, period. I like having a lot in a train. This is the Missouri Pacific 629, but what I really like about this one is it has the open slats. Notice you can see the wall behind it. You can see through the slats. I just love these. However, they suffer from that 46, 47 syndrome of that plastic sink and warping. Maybe sink here and warping along here where it connects to the chassis, and even depressions where it sinks in right in here or is warped in right along the door jamb. Same characteristics as the customer's, has the exact same features. And we're going to talk about this in a little bit more depth about a consultation I had with a American Flyer restorer who talked about the challenges of dealing with these cars, which have shrunk a little bit and tightened around the chassis. And then the Caboose 630 Redding that we just talked about, that's the one I had in a previous video. So going back down the line, 630, 629, stock car. On mine, I actually took off the door rails. I'm not going to take them off the customers because I learned on mine how brittle this plastic is, how warped it is, and it's not real strong because of these open slats. It's not like a solid piece of plastic on other house cars or box cars. So I chose not to remove his rails to remove the rust, but I think they're going to be acceptably clean. Searchlight flat car. Mine has the original glass So does the customers. Very rare to find that. 716 coal dump car, which works great. It's got the little coal, it has a little gate on the other side that the solenoid pushes open. And instead of ejecting the coal, it literally lets it roll out, whatever you put in there. And one of my favorite locomotives, 322 Smoking Tender. What a beauty. Thanks again for watching Dave's American Flyer Trains. So long, everyone.